My name's Ashton Curry. This is Caitlin Iman. Sorry.
That's okay.
We're going to show you how to set up an art line today. So we're just going to review first the supplies that you're going to need. You're going to need an art line kit. For the patient, we're not going to open this one up, but in order to keep that art line kind of opened, you may need this arm brace there. So you just grab one of those. You'll need a pressure bag, a 500 ml bag of normal saline, a needle, just a regular needle. If you were going to draw labs, you would need whatever lab tubes you need, your transfer device, alcohol swabs. For some troubleshooting, you might need this, which we'll go into in just a little bit. But that's pretty much all you need right now. We want to emphasize every time you're touching this, this is going into the patient. We need to be using hand sanitizer and gloves all the time. Thank you. Oh, you're also going to need a pressure cable as well. So, this is what you can be doing while, say that your provider is going to come and set up an art line, and they're going to insert one for you. You can go ahead and get this ready so that they're ready to go right after this is all set up for them.
Let me do the bag.
Sure. So Caitlin's going to go ahead and get the bag ready.
So this is your pressure bag. You have a little pump here. You want to make sure that you're off to air. So that looks like that, off to the air. Then you're going to get your 500 cc bag ready.
Now, this is a system where we don't want any air in that system. So we are going to get this little bubble out. We're going to take an alcohol swab. We're going to scrub this port right here really good. We're going to take a needle. And we're just going to push all this air out of there. Okay? And she's ready to do that.
So you're going to insert your bag of saline into your pressure bag. There is a little hook on here for you to hook your bag onto so it doesn't fall out. And then you're going to pump until you're going to see a green bar in this little bar here. So I'm just going to pump until I see that green. When you see the green, that's how you know you have enough pressure in your bag. Okay, just like that. Okay. So now our pressure bag is ready to go.
So now that our pressure bag is ready to go, we're going to open up our art line kit. In this kit, there's a whole bunch of stuff. So I just take all this stuff down because it gets a little confusing. Then I string it out. So you will notice it's like an IV. This tubing, you have a soft portion and a hard portion. The hard portion is the closest to the patient. Nothing should ever be inserted into this line like medications. You should never give any medication through this line. I always have gotten in the habit of feeling my lines just to make sure that it's not art line tubing, but you will recognize the feeling is different. So, I'm going to take this off just like a regular IV. I'm going to puncture this. And it's pressurized behind it. So then you'll unclamp this. And then there's a pigtail on this. And until you pull that pigtail, we're going to prime the line with pulling that pigtail. So you just want to make sure all the air is out of it. Okay, and then that part's ready. This piece needs to be as clean as possible. This is the piece that the provider is going to hook up to the patient's arterial line. We will talk about the transducer and where to level it here in just a minute. So we're going to take our pressure cable here. We're going to plug that in. I'm just going to set this here. Not that I really would do that. I would not let it touch anything. But just to show you this monitor. So now that we've plugged it in, you can see that you have this here. So if you are not seeing this, you can come down here to this, I always call it the caterpillar, and I have my art line tubing plugged in right here, so I can click on that one and I can change the label. You just want to make sure it says art line, which mine already does, or ABP. So because it's already activated, I don't need to do anything at this point, but you may have to change the label if it doesn't say that. Otherwise, it won't pull over to your charting and things like that. So once they get it inserted, you should start seeing waveforms and you'll get like a blood pressure. But really, this should be pulsatile with your pulse. So if it's not, you may need to check your connections. If it's flat, maybe your stopcock is turned off to the patient. You could have an occlusion in the line, multiple things. You also, if you're not getting, you've checked all that and you're still not getting pulsatility, you may need to see if your patient has pulse.
So if we need to zero our art line, to do that, you are going to turn the system off to the patient, and remember to turn off to the patient. Our hard tubing goes up, so we're going to turn it up to the patient, so up. We're going to take our cap off here, and to zero, we're going to pull that pigtail. And when you pull the pigtail, you'll notice solution comes out from your tubing. So we're going to pull until we are zeroed on the monitor here. When you're done zeroing your art line, you're going to turn it back off to the system. And if you want, you can put a 10 cc syringe. It just screws on to the end where our cap was. If you want to flush your system, what you can do is turn it again back off to the patient, and to turn off to the patient, we're going to go up, and you can pull your pigtail. That should fill the syringe. And if you want to flush the system, you can flush the tubing with your filled syringe. And when you're done, again, just off to the syringe is off in the system.
And then just a pet peeve of mine, I always just get that bubble out of there.
When you're zeroing on your monitor as well, when you hit zero, you want to hear 2 clicks. So after you hear that second click, that's how you know that your system, or the art line, is zeroed in the system.
All right, so something else that you're going to want to do whenever you are getting this set up, this transducer, this piece right here, needs to be at that phlebostatic axis of the patient. So if you move your bed up and down, what can happen is you might see fluctuations in your blood pressure, because this thing has to be level with that phlebostatic axis. So you need to sit there and level that right to the phlebostatic axis of that patient. Some other things that you might run into is if your waveforms seem to be pretty high whenever you're getting pulsatility. One thing that you can do, kind of a troubleshooting measure, is you can take a connecting device here for like an IV. Take this off here. There. You'll take this piece off. This would be the piece closest to the patient. You'll clean this right here. Then you'll just place this here. And then you should see better pulsatility in your waveforms. That's just if you're having trouble with it. You don't need to do it every time. So just if you're having difficulties. Drawing blood. So whenever you draw blood, I'm just going to take this off for now. What we're going to do is, obviously you'll clean the site. You're going to grab your connector, and this is the port closest to the patient. Do you mind opening that for me? Thank you. This piece is going to screw right onto there. Once again, this is going to be to the patient. I'm going to turn it off to the system. Now, you're going to have to waste, so I just grab a red top, and it'll bring the fluid back. I don't have any blood because it's not hooked up to a real patient. But you'll take your waste, and then you'll draw whatever things that you have, whatever labs that you have to draw. You'll tilt them however you need to. You'll turn your stopcock back off here. Now, you'll have blood in this line. So what you're going to need to do is you're going to have to flush it. Do you mind bringing that trash can over here so I don't get it everywhere? So you'll flush the line, which this would be hooked up to a patient, and there would not be air in it. So you'll flush your line until all the blood is cleared out of it. And then there's going to be blood in this little piece here. So I always take like a little medicine cup, and I'll just flush my line to get that blood out of there. And then once you're done, you can put your stopcock back on, and you can take a new sterile red cap and put it on the end. I don't have one right now, but you can put that on there to keep this as clean as possible. And really, that's it with the arterial lines.